teams live stream so they can watch their game afterwards. They really do. Same thing they still wanted, which was getting GTA out of the league or this owner out of the league.
Hello and welcome back to the Mic Check Show. I'm your host, Michael Couchet, and today we have a special guest, as always. We're branching off to a different league, the Power 5 to be exact, and that is the commissioner of the Power 5, Gord. Goddard?
Goddard.
Okay.
Yeah. Scottish descent.
As tradition on my show, I butcher every last name, so you're part of that trend.
That works for me.
Perfect. All right, Gord. So how are things going for you?
Well, things have been going pretty good. You know, our second season winded down, and now we're into the off season, and you know, I don't know what it's like in Alberta, but I know in our off season, you know, we have high school football and all sorts of other footballs going on right now, but we're also preparing to take a look at expansion, you know, for next summer. So it's almost like a 12-month a year league.
Yeah, no kidding.
Football never seems to end. That's for sure.
No, either you have the NFL, CFL, Arena. What was the other one? The USFL. There's always something.
Yeah, there is. That's for sure.
Perfect. All right, Gord. For those who don't know you, can you give them a brief introduction to yourself?
Sure. I've been involved with senior men's football for 32 years now. First as a player back in like 93. And then in 98, I became a head coach of the Sudbury Spartans in Sudbury, Ontario. So the Sudbury Spartans are probably one of the oldest senior men's football teams in the entire country. You know, we started in 1952. Before the NFC started in 1954, we were playing. And so we've been around a long time. I've worked as a player, coach. I've been different coaching positions when they needed it. And the team president since about 2006 or 7. In there, I took over the running of the team. In 2011, I became an owner of the team, the sole owner. And in 2017, I sold the Sudbury Spartans to a person named Dario Zulich, who owns the Sudbury Wolves in the Ontario Hockey League.
Okay.
And so we're now part of Sudbury Wolves Sports Entertainment Group. So we have the Sudbury Wolves in the OHL, the Sudbury Spartans, the Sudbury 5, a professional basketball team, the Sudbury Cyclones, professional soccer team. We've expanded the Spartans program from senior men's into our provincial junior team. So we have a U16, a U18. We have a girls women's tackle U16 and a girls women's tackle 19U team. We run a UA flag league out of Sudbury. And I'm now the operations manager for football for SWSE. You know, just all of the programs. And I've been involved with, I guess, senior men's also as an executive level. First with the Northern Football Conference for 12 years, and the last 2 years with the Power 5.
So. That's awesome. Damn. You'll say he owns pretty much all sports in that town.
All the professional sports and that end, yeah, for sure. I mean, his selling point was really interesting because he came to me. He had two brothers who played for the Spartans in the 80s, and he came to me and said, Gord, like, listen, I have this Ontario Hockey League franchise I just bought and paid like millions and millions for. He goes, and I have this full-time staff, but come the end of March, early April, they're not doing as much. And I like to keep them busy. And I think having summer sports like football would be a really good thing to put my marketing team on and our sales team on. And everything that man promised he would do for our organization, he's done. Right?
Damn.
I mean, I go to a game, he has gate people there with their little things. He also owns a greater sports apparel company, so they do custom apparel as well as team apparel for all our teams. So I don't have to do anything. I show up at the game. I had to manage a stick crew, make sure the officials showed up and show them where to go and manage my teams, right? Maybe my camera operator. They take care of everything else. So I'm in a good place in terms of football at a senior men's level where I have the hired help, you know, that what works for the organization that just comes in and takes over for me. So
that's perfect. I gotta say, I think any team in both AFL and Power 5 would love to have a organization just like that.
The sales team to go out and sell sponsorships and find your people, that was the biggest draw for me because that was really time consuming when I was an owner of the program. It was time consuming. So that sales team and that marketing team is everything for me.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
definitely a weight off your shoulders.
Right. And if you know what, if we have a lean year and we don't make as much money that year, it's not coming out of my pocket anymore. Right? There's deeper
True.
pockets to deal with it.
Yeah, you don't have to stress so much about it.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, since you being the commissioner of the Power Five, um, how did the Power Five come to be?
How did we come to be? Now, do you want the short answer or do you want the $1 million answer? You
The
know,
$1 million answer. That's why
the
we're here.
$1 million answer. Well, the $1 million answer is really simple. You have to take a look at where the NFC was at back in the spring of 2024. So about 18 months ago, right? You had 10 franchises or 10 member teams, right, in the conference at the time. I'd say that 6 of them were really strong programs organizationally. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had Sudbury, Sarnia, Tri City, Sault Ste. Marie, GTA, and North Bay. They were really strong programs.
Yeah.
You had 2 struggling programs. The Oakville Mifa Longhorns struggled with player numbers. They were sitting between, any game you'd see anywhere between 17 and 22 players at a game. So they struggled that way. The Toronto Phantom Raiders, they struggled in terms of they took leaves of absences in 2016, 19, 23. So at the last minute, they would pull out of the league on us and we'd have to redo our schedule with like a few days to go, right?
Yeah.
And then we had 2 relatively new organizations, the Hamilton Jaguars, and then the Ottawa Sooners, who'd been around the league for a while, for about, I guess, about 12 years at the time, but new ownership. They took a leave of absence. I think it was 2022 in there.
Okay.
They stepped away at the last minute. But those were the demographics of the league. So you have to understand a league is only as strong, I think, as its weakest programs, right? Its weakest teams. And those struggling, sort of held the league back a little bit from trying to grow. So the voting structure of the NFC was important to why and how we ended up splitting out. So in the NFC, every member club, every team had 2 votes, and every executive member had a vote. So there's a 5-member board. There's 10 teams. So you had 25 votes, really 24. The president only votes if he's breaking a tie, right?
Okay.
And so the NFC, it's governed by constitution and bylaws. In this case here, we split up after a discipline committee, appeals committee hearing was held with the executive as making the final decision, right? And it was in relation to issues around the GTA All-Stars at the time.
Okay.
And so what happens is once that decision's made, it's kind of final, right? It can be revisited at a special meeting or it can be revisited at an AGM by the membership as a whole. But, that's normally ends up with the executive being voted off the island at that point in time. And I hadn't seen that in a decade, right? But the essential thing is the decision of the executive is final, right? Unless you have like that magic number. In this case, it would have been somewhere around 13 votes, right? To overturn it. So what happened there, the backstory was really simple. The GTA owner, he's open about it. He had some legal issues in the States in 2019. Okay. He was on the executive for the NFC. He came to us and told us, listen, I'm having these legal issues. And this was after our season ended in 2019. I'm going to step back from the executive next year, so I'm not on it, but I'll still keep running my team from afar from Buffalo, where I'm living right now with my family. No problem with that. I was aware of it. At the time, I was still working as a police officer. Now I'm retired. I looked into it. I wasn't having any concerns. The issues were misdemeanors in the States, so like the lowest level. And in Canada, when we tried to find an equivalent charge or something, I don't even think it would have been something chargeable in Canada, right? Every country is a little bit different, but you know what? It was still something he had to deal with in the States, and so he dealt with it. We knew this for 4 years.
Yep.
So then in the fall of 2023, at our fall meeting, because we split our AGM, the fall meeting deals with the past season and what's happened up to that. There was an issue between him and another executive member who runs the North Bay Bulldogs, and there was a dispute there. After that dispute, that executive member began looking into the legal allegations that were going on with him.
Oh.
That led to us in April, finally the executive sitting down and dealing with it, because the executive, I wasn't informed of it. Another executive member was. There was only like 2 or 3 of them that knew what was going on. Yep. They sat down and said, we're having this discipline hearing. This is what's happening. And they laid it out for us. And that member wanted the GTA All-Stars and the owner immediately expelled from the NFC.
Oh.
They wanted it to be public. They wanted it to be out there. And to me, on the surface, it seemed like a little bit of a personal vendetta, So I had suggested to the executive, maybe we can find another solution here. So we talked to the GTA owner, and he was very upfront. He goes, listen, he goes, I'm looking to finish the 2024 season, and I'll sell my franchise by the 2024 fall meeting, or you can take it away from me.
Yep.
I'll exit. Just let me finish this last season. He was sick and tired of the politics of the NFC at the time. He was looking to move on. And so we thought about that. And I think the other 4 executive members, myself included, agreed that would be the best solution. Not a big public divorce where everyone's yelling and screaming. Unfortunately, the GTA owner put out an email to the league that was really harsh and vicious, and was attacks on people, okay, in the league, saying, like, you're kicking me out. This is war. I'm going to call on, all these bad things that have happened, to my franchise.
Right.
All I wanted to do was finish the year. And so we understood where he was coming from, but that email did not help, okay, at all.
Okay.
Our final decision was that GTA would finish the 2024 season. We cleared it with our insurance company. 2 members of the executive would oversee GTA for the 2024 season. The GT owner would move the franchise or sell the franchise by the fall AGM or relinquish it completely, right? And we would have peace for 1 season of football. And the end result would be the same thing they still wanted, which was getting GTA out of the league, or this owner out of the league.
Yep.
It didn't sit right with the rest of us, but that was the decision that we went with. Within a week of that decision, we started hearing from some member clubs. At the same time, we also suspended that owner from being at games, I think the first 4 games, even though he wasn't planning to come up. We suspended him for that email, and we made him apologize to the league for it, which he did. A week later, we get an email from the North Bay Bulldogs, their board of directors, saying, for safety reasons, they refuse to play games against GTA.
Oh.
And then within a week, we got a similar email from the Toronto Phantom Raiders. Same verbiage, same language. We refuse to play GTA. Then the Ottawa Sooners say the same thing. Then the Hamilton Jaguars say the same thing. And then we get a 5th email from the Oakville Longhorns that doesn't say that, but is very verbal and just attacks the executive. During the same period of time, there's literally dozens and dozens of emails being sent to, like, my ownership group and everyone around the league asking us to resign and step down. And we had a meeting, and we looked and we said, we still have the votes to do what we're doing.
Right.
We have 4 teams, which is 8 votes. We have GTA. If we count them, that's another 2 votes. We've got 4 executives. Like, we have this, no matter what happens here. What do we do?
Yep.
Like, we've never been in a situation where teams were saying, we're not going to play the schedule, right? We're not going to play.
Yeah.
We're not going to play them. So we were looking at the time that we stepped away we were looking at not being able to play football in 2024. They were talking in conversations with people about court injunctions and stopping the league from being able to play football. And we had 4 teams that just wanted to play football.
Right.
So, and the first executive member, the treasurer, resigned. His family said, you can't deal with this, these emails, all this garbage. This isn't what you signed up for.
Right.
And we were done. So we decided as a group of 4, and then we invited Hamilton, who actually originally came with us. That's why it was the Power 5, because Hamilton was coming with us.
Yep.
All 5 teams agreed, put money in together. We had a meeting with the rest of the league members, and we told them, listen, like, all these teams have withdrawn from the league. When we withdraw from the NFC, like we did, it was outside of the May 1st deadline. So we all forfeited our performance bonds, which is like $1,000 bonds that the league holds for us. So we all forfeited our performance bonds. We knew that. 4 executive members all resigned. And then we started this Power 5 football league. And at the last minute, Hamilton calls us and says, because the insurance calls me and says, I have you both in both leagues. I have Hamilton in the NFC and Hamilton in the Power 5. Where are they? And I'm like, well, they were on the meeting last night approving our bylaws and constitution, so I think they're with us, but let me call them. I call him up and he says, no. The new commissioner, Kevin Ling of the NFC, has decided or has offered him $1,500 team fees as opposed to $6,000. And so for money reasons, we're going to stay in the NFC.
Okay.
So the 4 teams went around and we played football ourselves, So that was the divorce. That was the breakup. It was simply, there was no place to play in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Without fighting and infighting and all the other stuff. So we just decided, we're going to play ourselves.
Yeah. Geez, what drama.
It was a lot of drama.
Playing football.
Right. It was. Right. And I got to tell you, we took lots of threats threats by meaning negative comments and lots of, there was lots of that going on, but it was so peaceful when we put those 4 teams together that season, internally it was so peaceful for us. We're like, we just love this. This is awesome. And we can build without those weaker organizations raising a stink about wanting to move and push the league forward, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was invested in making a better product than what we had on the other side. And that's not to take anything from the NFC. I love the NFC and the history of it. I think it's really important to Ontario culture and the province. Our organization has been with it since the beginning,
Yep.
Dozens and dozens of people in the NFC Hall of Fame. But there was no football going to happen in 2024 without this divorce. Plain football,
Yeah. And you have to have football every summer. It just feels off if you don't have it.
I think it would have. It really would have,
Yeah.
So, and then the irony of the whole thing is they ended up playing with GTA.
Yeah, which is weird.
So all those emails about we won't play GTA because we deemed all those clubs not in good standing, which means they're eventually suspended from operations. They're not in good standing. But all those teams said they couldn't play GTA for safety reasons. And then after we all left, they all played GTA. So really, at the end of the day, was that really
So we had some tactical difficulties, but we're going to move along here. So for the first season in the Power 5, what can you say about that first season?
I think it was a really successful season, right? We had some challenges in starting the Power 5. I mean, think about it. The timeline, it was like a ticking clock, right? Like we literally were supposed to be on the field already playing games when we decided to start this new league, right?
Yeah.
So we had to incorporate, we had to write a constitution, bylaws, operating procedures, get a schedule together, get a website launch, get socials going. And we did that in about 10 days, and including the draft, right?
Damn.
Yeah, it was a crazy period of time launching that.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of it is the 4 execs and the team from Sarnia all had expertise in different areas. So we were able to pull from those people and do it. I think the second biggest sort of challenge we had that first year was ignoring the noise from the other side and just keeping focused on what we were doing. Try to ignore that noise because we can't change what's already happened and what's happening. All we can do is move forward. So we ignored that. But that season was successful. There was a lot of peace. There was a lot of, it was a good football season for us. We enjoyed it as a group. The executive was like we're used to having 4 or 5 discipline committee hearings a year in the summer. We had 0 in year 1 in the Power 5, 0. In year 2, we had 1.
Yeah,
1.
That's incredible.
1, right? And that player came on and apologized in year 2.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done that, right? So it was a really good first season for us. But we had to, we still want to build this league, right? Bigger and better than it is right now. That's for sure.
Oh, of course. And speaking of building onto it, so of course the big news coming out, the GTA All-Stars are coming from the NFC to the Power 5. What does that mean for the Power 5? And of course, what do you expect after all that drama?
I don't want to think about the drama because we're trying to move past it, right? So at the end of the day, we know that the North Bay rep and former league exec and the owner of GTA, they made up.
That's good.
If there was any 2 people who weren't going to get along in the world, it would be those 2. And they get along. So we've had to sort of put on our hats and say, listen, we can't worry about, what's happened in the past. We got to move forward for what's best for football in the province of Ontario. So GTA coming over, I think on the NFC side, I mean, they don't have a website now. They don't have socials. They don't keep stats. Nope. There's nothing out there, right? They went from 6 teams that first year to 5 that actually played to actually 3 this year that they played with. So they're struggling. And GTA was looking for more than a 4-game season. So I've always kept communications open with the owner of GTA. He was part of the NFC for 20 plus years, right? Long before he ever started winning championships. He was a member of the executive. He was a contributing member to the league. So he'd been there a long time. So, for us, we get to bring, the 9-time defending provincial champions over to our side to play against our provincial champions from the last 2 years, right? That's a good thing. We get to play with an organization that we do know. We do know GTA, right? We know their ownership. We know their players. We get to expand into an area that we targeted for expansion. So we said we wanted a team in the Toronto GTA area. And what better team to have if there's one available is the GTA All-Stars, right?
Exactly.
So I think for GTA, they're looking for stability. They're looking for discipline. They're looking for a league that's going to have, everything set up for them to come into. And I think you're going to see a more disciplined and better product in the field than we've seen, maybe on the other side the past couple of years,
That's fair.
but
That's
it's
great.
exciting to see them because, listen, we all know each other, right?
Oh yeah.
We've all played together for years. So having GTA come over was just a natural progression. I think we would have taken them in the beginning. If one, we knew there wasn't going to be an insurance issue because there was some insurance issues that were stirred up. And two, we knew that the owner was going to stick around more than a one and done year because he still wasn't able to necessarily commit to a long-term commitment with us, or we would have taken him with us in the beginning, like he
Yeah.
wanted to play football. He goes, Gord, I just want to play with my friends. You guys are my friends. You guys are the ones who went to bat for me that made this work for me. Right.
Oh yeah.
And so he stayed in the NFC because that's the only place he could play football. So
Okay.
it's good for us
Well,
to have. That's for sure.
true. It definitely
Yeah.
helps the league expand and get better. Of course, at the moment there's a lot of baggage coming from GTA. I think it was on the message board for Alberta football. They're saying it's a bad move. There's tons of problems. There was the national game that had issues. Do you expect any issues for GTA going into the Power 5?
I think there'll be some growing pains for them coming into a league that's sort of established, but I also know that their owner, when he understands things and how they work, he doesn't put up with it. I'll be honest with you. Okay. So for us, GTA really wasn't a problem for us. I think that the NFC digressed to a point where there was some uncivilized behavior the last couple of years, right?
Okay.
They were allowed to do certain things that normally we wouldn't, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, for us, I don't see any issues with GTA coming over. We've made some changes though, like our membership. The same things you're hearing in Alberta, we heard in our membership meetings, and we discussed with GTA. So, one of the things we're changing is we're going to have a digital ID system online for all of our players.
Oh,
All of our players have a digital ID, so we're going to know, and everyone's going to know who's playing and who isn't. Before games, in the policy, we're in someone go up and down the field and snap pictures of each single player in the uniform. We can compare that to the website.
Yep.
Right. So that we're going to know who's playing every single game. Right. So the digital ID systems, that's for every team, right? Because we've had this issue with other teams in our league. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. We're going to have a new level because we want to establish, I think, the NFC as not, or the Power 5 as different from the NFC in the sense that we don't, we want to make it more family friendly. They talk about this being semi-pro football. We want to take the semi out and think about the pro part, professional. What does professional mean? We don't want to be half-ass professionals, right? We don't want to be like, these teams that are more like a beer league than anything else. So we want to lose that attitude and make it more family friendly. So really focus on the professional point. So we're going to write into our operating procedures, and we already started this, where organizations are going to be held accountable for not only their players' behavior and their coaching behavior, but their demeanor at games. So if they're cursing and swearing back and forth at each other, they're probably going to face either suspensions or a monetary fine. Right?
Okay.
Because we want to clean that up. We want to be able to, if we're going to market the way we are, and if you've seen the Power 5, just from our social media marketing, the first year, I think we were averaging only like 10 or 15,000 views a week or a month that first time. This year, we're averaging about 120 to 150,000 a month on our socials. And we'd like to get up between 250 and 500,000 on our socials next year. That's our goal. Yeah. So we have a partnership. We live stream all our games right onto YouTube every single time. That opens up, obviously, sponsorship and advertising revenue streams for all of us that we'll explore after this next season.
Okay.
We co-manage our social media with a professional social media company, right? So for us to be able to do that, we want to promote, engage, and entertain our people. The only way that happens is if our teams are behaving on the field.
All right.
And they want to be part of it, right? And I promise you, GTA wants to be part of it. So I think the difference between where they were and where they are is he's already played with us. He knows what our expectations are, right? Whereas the other side, what you have North Bay and Ottawa, you don't really have a league or a set of discipline things that you're actually following. It's basically run by one person right now. So we're going to change that discipline and decorum back to that professional side of semi-pro football. That's what our goal is as a league, right? Has to be there for sure. So we think it's going to work out well. I've seen GTA in every aspect, right back to the old Toronto Titan days, right? So I know they can be where we want them to be, and I know they will be. You know, um,
That's
so
great.
that's where we stand there for sure.
Yeah, that's what I love to hear coming from the Power Five, because I remember trying to do stuff for GTA going into the Nationals, and I couldn't find anything. Like, I think their last post on social media was like 2017 for the NFC. I'm like, this is bad. But you go to the Power Five, you just have all these games, the updates. It's fantastic.
You can
That's
see
what I
the
love.
reels, you can see all the clips. But here's the thing, though. Also, like some of the things we focus on. What do players want?
Oh, yeah.
Players want their games live streamed so they can watch their game afterwards. They really do. They don't want
Oh,
necessarily the huddle clips. They want to watch the game and the entertainment of it, right? And their
yeah.
families want to watch it. So they want the live streaming. Players want the offensive and defensive and special teams players of the week, which we're going to go back to next year. They've said we want that.
Yep.
You know, they want the Instagram, they want all the reels, they want all the stories, they want all that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, of
So we're
course.
gonna. But the biggest thing I think differentiates semi-pro football from Wednesday night girls volleyball is stats and
Oh, yeah, of
access
course.
and making them accessible. So our website is built up within 24 hours of any game. Stats got to be submitted to the league statistician, and within 24 hours of that, they're up on the website. So
Yeah, but it's incredible.
that's the standards we've set in this league because that's what people are looking. What are the stats? What happened last game? Right?
Yeah, and that's
Everyone wants to compare themselves, right?
true.
So
And that's what draws people to the product. You're like, oh, you can see my friends, these guys that played at a higher level playing in this league. And it's, of course, going to be entertaining because it's actually good football.
right, and I mean, when we start to build, like we like to do podcasts and stuff like that as we move on, more interviews, more stuff. Build out that YouTube channel for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't touched TikTok as a social, but I was talking with my marketing people at SWSE this morning at a meeting, at a managers meeting, and they're going to work with us on launching that, and how we can tie everything in together because I think that's another important social that we're missing out on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we want to give as much exposure to the players in this league, in the league as we can, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the fun part for the players. That's what they enjoy, right? It's not just going down and playing on a Saturday. It's being able to watch clips of yourself standing on your head in the end zone after scoring a touchdown, like Sarnia guy did in the championship game, right? In a little clip,
Oh, yeah, of course.
right? Those are the things that the players want to see. So we want to encourage that.
Oh, yeah.
That's important. Yeah.
So is it safe to say that this is the first podcast for the Power Five, or at least the subject of it?
Absolutely, it is 100%.
Perfect.
Sure. You got it. You got the first one with us.
It was funny because once it was announced that GTA was coming to the Power Five, and everyone's like going back and forth about it, I'm like, I have to have you on.
Yeah. And so I'm actually the communications director for the league.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I take care of all the communications and stuff like this. We have a president, Barry Russian, out of the Sioux, who's not with the Sioux Steelers anymore, but he's just with the league end of things now, and he's like the grandfather of our league.
Okay.
And then football. So he's the calming force that keeps sort of everybody talking and in line together, right?
Perfect.
I'm the
You
guy who
definitely
just like
need one of those.
I just want to get it done. I just want to build the league and get it done, right? And
Yeah.
so delegate where I can delegate, do what I have to do, and just let's try and build this. Like GTA wasn't an easy sell for this membership.
Oh, yeah.
There was some people who didn't necessarily want them, and we had this talk with GTA as well. We said, listen, there's some guys who really don't want you here,
Oh, yeah.
but they understood the end game and what that means for us as a league and what it means for senior men's football in the province of Ontario. And that's why it became acceptable, I think, at the end of the day. And the fact that we're willing to change some of our operating procedures to ensure any fears of any rogue or undisciplined type behavior,
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I definitely can't wait to see that. And of course, the Power Five is on an upward trend right now. What would you like to see the league become in at least 5 years?
In 5 years from now, where's the league? We want to grow the socials. We want to grow into sponsorships and advertising revenue. We want to become a little bit more mainstream in football across. Like, you see the CJFLs out there doing some great things across, We'd like to be able to start building towards that where people start to know the league. There's still so many people don't know senior men's football across this country. And we'd
Sure.
like to try and bring it, I think, more mainstream at the end of the day,
Okay.
we want to expand by a couple teams. We'd still like to expand by a couple teams. And we're making an offer to one other program right now. And
Okay.
I don't know if they'll come over, but we're gonna talk to one other program. And maybe we'll have something out by early November.
Okay, awesome. Okay, my hope for that is it's probably gonna be a long shot because someone has to actually start it up. But a team in Kingston. Do you remember the Kingston Buccaneers?
You know what? Because I work with our organization's part of the OSFL, the Ontario Summer Football League.
Yep.
We deal with Kingston's in that league, right?
Okay.
So, and we had the NFC had the Kingston Privateers back in the
That's it.
early 2000s, right? They had moved, I think, from the Peterborough Packers over to the Kingston, and it was just the way it moved was weird.
Okay.
They didn't last too long.
It's funny because I was planning on playing with them because I was done high school. Like, oh, perfect. I still have football. Then no team.
Right.
Which definitely sucks. But
and
hopefully
that's a I don't know what senior men's football is like in Alberta, but in Ontario it can be really expensive because like the leagues as they've operated so far, we use an officiating panel, right?
Okay.
So Kevin Baird is our referee in chief, I think, for both leagues, and he assigns like all the OU officials to all their games. So he likes to use this as a training bed for some of his officials in our leagues in the summer.
Yeah,
it's expensive. Awesome. So our league fees can be, $600-$700-$7,500 for team fees. That'll pay for all your officials and it pays for all your game balls and all your awards and all your fancy stuff like that. But it's expensive for a team, to operate. So we'd like to change the way that I'd like to change that. So I'm going to push to change that. I'd like to make it cheaper for teams to operate and that for sure.
Yeah, get more teams in, get more talent. Something
more sponsorship, get advertising, right? Get more recognition out there, especially local sponsorship. Get more of it.
Yeah, because in the Alberta Football League, you have a lot of small town sponsors for those small teams, but for the bigger teams, a little bit more difficult. But yeah, hopefully the Power 5 can really do that.
We're working at it. It's a learning. We're gonna make mistakes along the way. I'm sure we've made a couple already. Well, we're going to make mistakes along the way, but the thing is, at the end of the day, we're just trying to grow the sport, right? And allow people, post-secondary to still be able to play football.
Yeah, exactly. So another issue that I may think may happen is once you grow with more teams, are you going to have to change the name Power 5 to something else? Is it just going to keep going?
You know what? Right now, we don't know. I mean, the Big Ten has 18 teams, right, in there right now. So who knows? You know what I mean?
True.
What we'll do later on. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't even remember how the Power 5 name came about. I remember names were being shouted around. We were trying to do something, right?
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. All right, Gord. So that's it for today's show. I thank you for coming on and being will be my first Power 5 interview. Is there anything you'd like to say to just anyone looking to play or watch the Power 5?
I think you got to come out to a game or just watch a game on YouTube and see what you think of it. Google Power 5 football on YouTube, watch a couple games, see what you think of the games and what's going on there. It'll give you a good indication of what, the league's about, what it's playing.
Perfect.
So
awesome. Yeah. Definitely can't wait for the next season to see how that goes. Good luck to your team and, of course, the league. And
good luck to the Alberta Football League. We'd like to have more conversations with them in the future. So
yeah, hopefully get a national game going.
It'd be something that would be worth a discussion, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That I think players want that in our league, but it just depends what the leagues want to do. So
true. Gonna say it's not my decision. That's the board. I'm just the small-time podcaster here.
No. Hey man, you're promoting football, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you because it's promoting it. I watched a couple of your shows. I'm like, hey, this is really promoting football in a good way. So
of course, gotta get those stories out that haven't been told.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Gord. Thanks for coming, and thank you for everyone for watching and listening. Mike, checking out.